I'm supposed to share a personal experience with Helix, and let me just tell you, I am happy to do so. And that personal experience comes from a story about last night, and I was so tired, and it was the best part of my day, putting my sweet little head on a Helix mattress, and I got some amazing sleep. And it was wonderful, and it was beautiful, and I felt revived, and I've been able to tackle the day. And I don't know if you've been noticing lately that I've been crushing life lately, and I gotta, just, humbly speaking, and I give most of that credit to the great sleep I get every night on my Helix mattress. If it weren't for my Helix mattress and the support from my wife, I don't know what kind of man I would be in this world today. I do want to give credit to my wife, but honestly, it's mostly Helix mattress.
I will also say I love you, Helix, but also it's so annoying that they're so comfortable and such a great mattress, because I do want to get in bed and chit chat with Nick, but he's immediately asleep. As soon as he gets into bed, he's immediately rocked out. And honestly, I understand, because Helix has a unique lineup of 20 mattresses, so you can find the right mattress for you if you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, stomach sleeper, head sleeper, fetal position sleeper. All you have to do is take a quick online quiz to be paired with the mattress for you. It is recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving your sleep. It's also recommended by Nick and Natalie if you care.
I honestly think that's all you really need to know, because we're picky people.
As you know, Nick doesn't eat anything that I cook, so... Very, very, very picky. For their Memorial Day sale, go to helixsleep.com/VIALL for 27% off site-wide, plus a free bedding bundle, sheet set, and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. This offer is exclusive for our listeners of the Viall Files. That's helixsleep.com/VIALL for 27% off site-wide, plus free bedding bundle, which is a sheet set and a mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. helixsleep.com/VIALL.
You're crazy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I hope everyone is having a happy Thursday, because we are. We have a lot to get into. It's another jam-packed episode. More of the wives of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives are with us this episode. Mayci and Layla join us for another jam-packed interview. These ladies are giving. We love them. We are grateful for their truth and honesty. I don't know what you all are thinking about this season so far. I mean, it's all out. I don't know. I need to talk to Rob Mills.
Yeah. And what do you need to talk to Rob Mills about?
I genuinely want to ask him. I don't know if he gives a shit about my opinion. I did see, I saw some kind of TikTok. It was from a journalist, and they were like, please, whoever, Hulu, please don't release these all at once. I'm wondering how fans, I honestly wish they would do, selfishly, I wish they would roll it out not all at once. It's harder to cover, you know?
Yeah, I kind of like how Love is Blind does it.
Yeah,
where it's 3 episodes at once or something.
Yeah,
Batches.
give me 3 acts, Give me the first third, the setup of the season.
Leave me on the edge of my seat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make me sweat for the next week.
Yeah.
Think about the press.
But that's what some journalist was like, think about us.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily expect Rob Mills, who's in charge of Hulu. I am curious how they decide that and what makes them decide that. Apple seems to do a weekly drop with their scripted shows and things like that. Love is Blind on Netflix has they do the whole batches.
Yeah.
They dropped all of Mormon Wives all at once, last time.
I think a lot of people probably binge. I feel like a week, they dropped it Thursday. I feel like over the weekend, people were kind of cranking it out.
But I would with this journalist, whoever, I bet there are, but it does give the opportunity for, shows like ours and the media to create more buzz, right? And I think create that excitement. It allows people to focus on various storylines. Honestly, Season 2 is jam-packed with so many fucking storylines. I think they lose out on fans, focusing on the whole, Chippendales of it all and, breaking that down, like we did on Tuesday's episode of Reality Recap, if you want to go back there, and we debate, whether, did Demi exaggerate? Did Demi not exaggerate? I don't know. Verdicts.
Mm-hmm.
It's not clear.
You know what I'm saying? So it's harder to do. I think things fall through the cracks,
right?
And I think it creates a pressure cooker. I don't know. I think it would perform a little bit better if they batched it out a little bit more.
I think binging is dead. I think it's so much. Well, it's
What does
like,
that mean?
well, I think it's like when you binge something, you watch it all at once and then you forget everything. But when you have like a weekly schedule, or I mean, I love like a multi-episode premiere. You know, like give me like 2 or 3 episodes at the premiere, and then once a week you have something to look forward to during your week.
Yeah.
And then you can talk about it with your friends, and it like creates way more like of an online community talking
Because everyone's
about
on
it.
the same page.
Yeah.
No, that's actually so true. I was texting with my friend about it, and she was like, "The scene we're done," and I go, "I haven't gotten there yet."
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't ruin it
But
for me.
thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
So they should go 3-3-3, 3-3-3,
3-3-1.
3-3-1.
Like the
3-3-3-1.
finale. Yeah. 3-3-3-1.
Mhm.
Math.
Pay attention to how we cover it, and then match
do what
that,
we do,
Yeah.
everybody.
Rob Mills.
sir.
Well, I hope they. I'm gonna try to convince them, and if they make any changes, I'm gonna take all the credit
As you should.
Mm-hmm.
to change how they do this season 3. Because I can tell you right now, we have had the opportunity to speak with many of the ladies and people who make the show,
Mhm.
and people who work for Hulu, and every single person has been like, season 2 is nothing, guys. This is amateur hour. Season 3 is an absolute clusterfuck of a season.
Didn't they just start filming?
I think they're like almost done.
I think they're almost
filming
done.
Season 3.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
They're
Yeah.
working.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
They're
we
employed.
ran into them at the Hulu's Get Real event. They were filming there. We
Right.
we were kind of like doing a scene with them. We didn't know. We were just saying hi to the ladies, and we were like, oh my god, you guys there's a boom mic in front of us. Like, oh shit.
Do I
We
have
didn't
to
sign
hug
any
you again?
releases, so we will not be on it. Thank God. And then I hosted the.
Who knows what I said?
Yeah, well, we didn't sign any releases, so I think we're fine. And then I hosted the premiere. They did a panel last week. They were filming there. They were filming at Stagecoach. My understanding is that the reason they just keep filming is because like they are constantly giving. There is this constantly internal drama with this group in their relationships, with their friendships. It is nonstop. And in every single person I've talked to, whether it's part of the cast or crew, they just can't shut up about just how fucking crazy season 3 is. And that's like after the heels of season 2.
Wait, that's actually insane. I'm like, is there a possibility that we could get another season this year? Or like, would it be like the top of next year?
I don't know.
I bet
I
it-
believe. I don't know. I don't know for sure.
I bet it would be like this fall.
I believe it's
right?
this fall. I believe.
Ooh.
Don't
Okay.
quote me
A
on this.
spring
I
and
don't
fall.
know.
A spring season, a fall season. That's
it's like-
feeling on trend.
It feels Mormon.
But it's like
feels very
Things are
Mormon.
certainly subject to change. I don't know, but I hope if they do, I hope they batch it out a little bit. I do.
Yeah.
Well,
they're the gift that keeps on giving. It's like Love Island, but different. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're always going to be on my TV, and that makes me excited.
They also know how to like use other platforms very well. In the way I feel like Bravo's kind of catching up to that, but the wives, they know they're
Yeah.
making the TikToks. They're going on the podcast. They're like
they're fighting
they're
in the comments.
ingratiating
Yeah.
all of it into this one beautiful cataclysm.
I
Like,
honestly
that's not
don't
what
even think
cataclysm
they.
means.
I honestly don't even think that they could stop if they were forced to stop. Like if
No.
production was like, "Ladies,
N-
stop."
I talked to one of the producers who like needs a break.
They're
and-
tired.
And and the ladies were like kind of need a break too. And they were like, listen, when you guys stop fighting, we'll take a break.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So please
So
Stay
please.
home.
stop fighting.
No,
Yeah.
Turn
literally.
off your phones and stay home.
Literally.
We do have a jam-packed episode. We've got Mayci and Layla.
Mayci and Layla. We will be breaking down the Valley as well. If you haven't listened to episodes Going Deeper with Michelle, I mean, also, I just want to say you're welcome, Valley, because I know your ratings have not been the best. There's been a lot of speculation.
I saw that they maybe are getting the C word.
Paused.
Okay, the P word.
The C word.
Cancel.
Alex Baskin did put all that
Yeah,
to silence.
he put
though.
that to
Oh, he
bed.
did?
Yeah.
It's just insiders who could be anybody saying this. So
Yeah.
Well, what did Mr. Baskin
There's
say?
no
He said
truth.
there's no truth to any of this.
Oh.
But the ratings aren't great. And
They went up for the last episode, but I think episode 3 was
It's an
like
ex-
a
it's an excellent
series
show.
low.
It's
Listen,
an-
I can understand people not wanting to like support Jax and Jesse's behavior.
Yeah.
well, if you haven't listened to Michelle's episode, I think it's giving very like Dirty John.
Mm.
It's giving Lifetime Married to a Monster.
Mhm.
I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I like with listening to Michelle talk about how
I mean, she agreed with you. So I don't think
I-
you're being. If you were being hyperbolic, she would have been like, "Well, I don't know if I'd go that far." But she was like, "Yeah, no."
But this
You're
is
right.
a man who just goes out of his way to try to emotionally torture the mother of his child, and he's been doing this from the time being. And I'm not one to diagnose. I don't know. I'm not one to. It's not. I'm not diagnosed.
It's
But
not for you to say.
it's not for me to say. But I don't know if that's not emotionally abusive. I don't know what
it
is.
is. Yeah.
Because that
Mm.
sounds like fucking torture. And when someone just constantly gaslights and hangs things over your head, and like that's gaslighting.
I think we learned with that interview with Michelle, we learned a lot about what Michelle was going through in her day-to-day life that Jesse knew about was going on. And it like didn't stop him from treating her the way he was treating her on national television, which says a lot for me that she had to take the things that Jesse was saying to her back to her family and be like, this is what I'm dealing with right now. And like, it's brutal.
So it's a sad situation, which honestly made me. I was thinking this week. I asked Nally's advice on something.
What was that?
Doesn't matter.
Oh.
Um,
Thought that's what we're
So
getting
we
into.
are not privy to that
Yeah,
information.
I'm like, what was it?
Yeah.
no, but it kind of like it was more. It just was more like it's kind of crazy when you marry someone.
Okay, I love where this is going.
I feel like it's gonna go up.
You think?
I
We'll
think
see.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hold on.
Hold on.
I've got faith.
Put your seatbelt
No,
on.
but like it's one of those things you kind of take for granted that like when you marry someone, depending on what you do for a living, or what goes on in your life. But obviously, often people who get married have kids together. That the stakes are high when it
Right.
comes to kids. The hope is that you're with someone that like you can run by things, that like you give a shit about their opinion. That you can be like, hey, what do you think about that? And then like they say something, you go, okay, thank you.
And you like know they have your best interest.
They have your best interest
Yeah.
in mind, or that you respect their opinion,
Yeah.
and that, or even at a minimum, like listen, if I were a lawyer, I'm not, and let's say maybe it might be harder for me to like ask Natalie about like legal advice or something, but at a minimum, just to be married to
I feel like I
someone.
watched enough of the Karen retrial to
that's
be
true.
able to
Yeah,
give you
that's
like
true. Yeah.
sound advice.
I object.
Really.
But just like even at a minimum, just knowing that you have the ability to make your partner feel confident about the decisions they're making.
Right.
For me, I don't know. I ultimately ask Natalie questions, no pressure, that have like $1 million ramifications.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel pretty good about asking her opinion.
$1 million opinion.
She clearly doesn't know the risk when she's answering
Clearly.
these questions.
Like,
I'm
what's
like, fuck him.
but it's
He's like, all right. You say so.
no, but like I do feel lucky to have married someone who I really value her opinion.
I have a good head on my shoulders. I know a thing or two.
Well, I think you also you know people. I think you read people pretty well, and like you're instinctual when it comes to because I think a lot of decisions are based off about like how are people going to respond to this?
Right.
How do you think this situation would play out? I don't know. I do feel very lucky to be married to someone whose opinion.
you.
Like I don't know. You don't really know those things when before you even like you date them and you get married or whatever, but like, and then once you're in it, you have kids together and you're, after talking to someone like Michelle, who everything changed when she got pregnant, her words,
Yeah.
that feeling and the knowing that so many people, like, again, if you're out there and if you relate to this, go listen to the Michelle episode, you will feel, it's a sad story,
Should we
but
just get
you
into
might
the
feel less
valley?
alone.
While on this
Should we
topic.
sure, we can get into the valley.
Mhm.
Janet really is the worst.
Yeah.
Justin,
Let's
do you
just-
have
Janet,
any?
if you're out there, if you're listening, if you feel like we have you wrong, please
Come on, sit
come on,
down.
come on in.
I'm always-
Come on down.
Justin?
I'm always down to scooch.
Justin?
Justin,
Justin?
is Janet a still a crowd favorite?
All I said was last season she had a lot of fans.
Did she?
So she did.
No.
You can literally search on the internet. She had a lot of people loving her until the season finale where she
well,
was evil.
listen, there are a lot of Karens out there, and they
Yeah.
need
Representation
they need-
matters.
they need representation.
That comment at the table with Nia and the
Fucking
rest of them when they're like
crazy.
trying to
Yeah.
be like, we're so sorry for the way we handled this. And Janet being like, and like, he's kind of similar to a guy I was married to who like drugs and alcohol. It's like kind of the same thing. Huh?
And like
Wild.
I'm certainly not Danny's biggest fan, but like Girl.
And yes, if he
Girl.
was in a closet doing pulls of tequila, that is weird. But you do not get to diagnose and compare them to someone you know to be an addict who's abusive. You don't get to make that leap.
Right.
Also, like, and the way Danny explained it on Watch What Happens Live, he was like, I went into there to grab a White Claw. I see the handle of tequila right there. I'm like,
Still
man,
aggressive.
sure, I'll do a shot.
Still aggressive.
But Janet made it so, like, dark and
Nefarious.
sneaky
Yeah.
and shady and, like, oh my God, he was, like, hiding from Nia and didn't want anyone to see him. And he was chugging and chugging and chugging and drank the whole handle.
No,
It's like,
and it's all based off of like her having a problem with them being considered the happy, healthy couple.
100% it's jealousy. When she's said, my husband has never once hidden in a cupboard chugging tequila, making people uncomfortable. I like really wanted to like jump through the TV for Nia. I can't imagine how that would feel. Like, you're not a friend, first of all. And second of all, they did the same thing again where Nia leaves the table and then
Jasmine
the tone
immediately, like, I
changed.
can't do the
Yes.
tears. Huh? Say
Right
that when
on.
she's crying.
Like, with friends like
and
these.
she apologized. She apologized for talking about her behind her back. And then the second she leaves again, she does it all over again and talks about her behind her back. That pissed me off so much.
Also, she's crying, like, reliving some trauma from her childhood. She's not
Yeah.
crying because, like,
She wants you to feel sorry for her.
It's like, guys, I was homeless with my mom and, like, this crazy shit happened and that crazy shit happened. And Jasmine being like, you can't do the tears, honestly. Like, it's just really big.
I think Jasmine's trying too hard to get airtime.
I kind of do too, because
Yeah.
it's just over performative
And, like, mean.
and mean
It's
Yeah.
very mean girly.
to the nicest person on the cast.
Literally.
Do we take back what we said last week about Nia and Danny not being made for this show? I only say that because, well, I think we made good points. I really, honestly, like, I appreciate the representation of a couple that is like, hey, we're not here to, like, spill every fucking, like, thing. And if you don't want us, fine. But, like, we're just not going to do that. We're not going to sell out. And I know this is probably
No, that's a good
this
point.
is an unpopular take. And, you know, and I appreciate her backstory about her very sad childhood.
Yeah.
And good for her for making a life for herself and having all these incredible accomplishments in adulthood that started with her being fucking homeless and living out of a fucking car.
Mhm.
And, like, that's starting literally from the bottom, you know? And, like, God forbid she wants to protect the things that matter, and she's not willing to sell out her family like so many of these cast members are for fucking airtime.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my next hot take, which I know will be unpopular. I kind of have no fucking empathy for Britney, and I'm kind of over it. And I don't think she deserves the Ariana treatment.
What happened this episode that made you think that?
It's just kind of accumulation. We, in case you guys haven't heard it, we are recapping on Viall Files plus Vanderpump. We are in season 5 right now. Six, okay. And
Sex Lies and Audio
it's
Tape
fucking
out now.
brutal. I mean, it's just honestly going back and recapping it is like watching the Valley all over again. I mean, like how many chances? Like like Jax is so fucking terrible to Brittany, and it's like she's being warned over and over every day. She's just making a choice. She's monetizing Jax's bad behavior.
It does also feel like, and obviously this is just a show, but it feels like Jax treats her this way constantly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of people in these types of relationships will be like, when it's good, it is damn good. And the 10% that it's bad. But, like, that 90% boy, and it feels like there's not even the 90%, you know? It's
Yeah.
just like, it's just always bad.
And even in that fight that they were having at the beginning that carried on from last episode, it's like Zach made a really good point where he was like, how many times have you lied to protect Jax and you're coming at Nia? But regardless, Nia's fine to admit that her husband had too much to drink, but he's also tired. Two things can be true. You're upset because you think that they're not sharing the deepest, darkest, dirtiest secrets, but I'm like, not everybody has the relationship you have with Jax,
Yeah.
Right.
And
where
it's
it's
just-
constant trauma to expose.
Also, it's like Brittany and Jax's relationship was built being on an extremely toxic television show together. And like that is their relationship dynamic where I feel like Danny and Nia, like literally they obviously had a life together before the Valley started. So they have something to protect. Whereas I think Brittany and Jax were so like that was their relationship.
Yeah, and it's more. We've witnessed Brittany monetizing Jack's bad behavior for how many years now?
Yeah.
So it's just hard for me to go
Well, they
in there.
both do it. Jax and her.
Fine, but like we hate Jax,
Yeah.
and it's just like I don't know, like I'm so honestly, if they got rid of Brittany and Jax from the Valley, if I could replace one couple, it would be Brittany and Jax because it's not new. It's the same shit. There's nothing new to say. There's nothing
there's
new
no
to recap.
growth. There's
no arc.
There's no growth. There's no arc. There's no, like with Kristen, I texted her this the other day. I'm like, it's so lovely to see this version of you. You are such a good, loyal friend. And it really shows throughout this, even like her sitting at the table this episode and being like, if anyone has anything negative to say about Nia, like they're going to have to go through me first.
Yeah.
It just really shows like the growth that crazy Kristen has had. And like, yeah, Jax and Brittany don't have that. It's like still the same games they've been playing for the last 10 years. And like at some point, we've got to stop. And clearly a divorce like isn't stopping any of it, because the fact that he's in this mental institute and like still rage texts her, still blows her up, and she has not blocked him is the craziest thing to me. It's like maybe he wants updates on this, like the nanny can give him updates on Cruz and send photos and be like, here's what he's doing today. You don't have to do that, Brittany.
Yeah.
He does not deserve access to you anymore. But her being like, no, I can't help it. I'm obsessed with responding and
like
reading them. It's like, it's just, yeah, it is.
That's
like,
your storyline.
Ooh, storyline. I just, it's hard to give a shit about her plight anymore. And it's not going to change.
Just kind of like do something different at this point.
And honestly, I'm kind of uncomfortable watching him at this point. You know, it's like, take care of your kid.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's gotten a little dark.
Luke shopping for engagement rings for Kristen.
That was sweet. Her being like, don't go over 10 grand.
Or I'll chop his balls off. And then he
Oh.
still went over 10 grand.
And a Kyle Chen cameo.
So is that what it's all about? You guys give us rules to break, because if we break them, does that prove our love?
No, I just thought it was really cute that it was like something that he like said, but he was like, well, this one's 14.
I feel like Kyle Chan was probably like, dude, I don't really have anything 10 grand in here, but I have this $14,000 ring that she would love. Like, I feel like that's how Kyle Chan works.
But even his like numbers, he's like, this is like a 7.9 carat. And I was like, excuse me.
And then even Danny being like, isn't it cut?
Am I wrong? Did he get the did he get the C's wrong?
No.
Isn't it color cut clarity?
Carat, color cut.
I don't think it's carat. What
I
are the-
actually
Carrot-
don't.
Wait.
Color cut clarity.
look.
I think it's color cut clarity.
It is actually.
I'm
'cause
exiting
carrot's
out
spelled
of
with
this
a K.
conversation.
Yeah.
Either way,
Is it?
For gold, it's like
either
24
way,
carat.
I'm pretty
4
sure
C's.
he got it wrong.
It's 4 C's.
I think it's
What are the
Cut,
3
color,
C's?
clarity,
of
and
engagement?
carrot. Carrot is spelled with a C.
oh.
But then why does it say 24 like K or 14K
Well,
on
he didn't
your
seem very
rings?
confident, and he forgot
I think
color, and
carrot's with a K.
I fucking knew that.
Carrot with a C. You
Of course, that doesn't say much about me
eat to
because
make
I
your
have
hair
been
grow.
engaged multiple times. You know.
Multiple times. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
C for carat for C refers to weight of gemstones, and carat with a K refers to purity of gold.
Gold. Yeah, because it's like how
learn
many
something new every
carats
day.
is your gold?
But yes, we got another Kyle Chan cameo. That man will be on every spin-off of the Vanderpump Rules family till
Good
the
for
end.
him.
Can we talk about his marriage
Marriage
counselor
counselor?
turned
Oh,
Yes.
personal
my
therapist?
Fired.
God.
Scream
Fired.
into this pillow.
If my therapist ever asked me to, I'd be like, that's the only solution you have to fix my problems.
Giving some
I can do that.
dumbass
I'm
metaphor.
paying $200 an hour for this. I can do this at home.
He said, water your flowers,
That's
not
what
your
my
poison
mom told me to
ivy.
do when I was 5.
But it's like also, that was like his spin on the like, you have 2 wolves inside of you to feed. He's like, are you watering your flowers or your poison ivy? And I'm like, wait,
Girl.
what?
I just
No,
want to
it's
know when he got
creepy.
Chris Daughtry to be a therapist.
Honestly, that's where Chris Daughtry went. That's where he went.
I've been wondering.
I've been looking for him.
Yeah.
Truly.
I mean, obviously, probably not even a real therapist, but like, he should be embarrassed of his client on TV. Where's the accountability? How do you know? Hey, you're a bad husband.
Yeah, or like, what was he saying about his triggers? It was like,
That's just projecting. When he was like, it's like,
It was
no,
just like a
you're
bunch of-
lying, Jesse. You're like, and I'm not trying to downplay it. Like, yeah, I mean, Michelle cheated on Jesse. I don't know, but I
Wouldn't you?
but like a kiss,
Sorry.
a kiss after a kiss.
We do not.
I'm not a kiss.
yeah, like, relax.
There's just a lot of marriages out there that have dealt with some heavy shit, and
But
it's
the
just
way
like,
that Jesse treats her is like as if she has had. Honestly, it's worse than that. Like, it's like I tried to compare it to like her like having this whole secret family, but like he treats her worse than if she had a secret family.
Yeah.
Literally.
He treats her like she literally killed someone in his family.
It's
Like-
bizarre. It's really bizarre.
It's
And then it's like
Terrifying.
his evil plan is working. Aaron's telling Michelle this episode that like if this continues on with Jesse, which I also think is fair, that he can't really do this anymore. And I'm like, if I were dealing with somebody that diabolical on a regular,
Totally valid.
and like I can't hit this person, I can't do
Literally.
anything about it because it's the father of your child. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Because he's terrorizing them.
Yeah.
He's the definition of a gaslighter. For all the people who have misused and watered down the true meaning of the word gaslighter, Jesse Lally is here to save you, because now you can call him a gaslighter and be right. Because that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to poke holes in her. He's trying to drive her crazy. He's trying to like
And make her look like she's the crazy one. His interviews, he's like trying to be like, Michelle has all of this anger and resentment, and I have no idea where it comes from because I'm just a good man trying to be a good dad.
And it's a very difficult position for her to be in too, because it's either accept the fact that he's, going around and talking about her character, and then also like trying not to say anything about him because he is the father of her daughter and she will see this. And so it's a very tough spot to be in, to like, how do you navigate that? I mean, that's really tough.
I have to say, if I am the daughter, I would love to see my mom talk some shit about my dad if he did this. If he was calling my mom those awful names, like I would be like, Mom, if you don't fight back, if you don't stand up for yourself, and like I would want to see that side of my mom, not just like one who's like, I'm not gonna say anything to protect my daughter. I'd be like, speak up. Be
like, call him a bitch.
Literally call out him for having some gay man send him money. Do it.
Well, Jesse, if you are listening and you object to anything Michelle or we said about you, please come on.
He's not going to.
Might.
You think?
I don't want him.
I do.
I'll be sick that day, but
that's my day for Janet.
Yeah.
It'll be I'll handle it by myself. I got this, guys. You guys can have the day off.
Thank you.
Okay, it'll just be Nick in the room.
Spring is here and summer is around the corner with sweatpants season finally over. Thankfully, it's time to swap those winter sweats for outfits that turn heads. I'm always looking for ways.
Thank God.
As we all know, Nick is not a fan of sweatpants or pajama pants in the slightest. But with Daily Look, I don't receive any of those in my box because they keep you looking great. With Daily Look, you get your own dedicated personal stylist to create a box of clothes based on your body shape preferences and lifestyle. This is not an algorithm. It's a real personal stylist, and you get the same stylist every single time. So they really learn what you like, what you don't like, what colors you like on you, and what styles you like on you. It means you can try up to 12 premium pieces per box in the comfort of your own home, saving you time and effort. You don't have to share that mirror like in some of those stores, you know what I'm saying? And get y'all all know I hate an opinion of an outsider. Well, you don't get that when you're at home trying on clothes, besides your husband, of course.
Wait, and I gotta say, and they really know Natalie's style. Natalie's very picky. She has great fashion sense. The box shows up. Natalie is in a fantastic mood.
It is so nice because it is so simple. You fill out their style quiz, including your price and lifestyle preferences. You get up to 12 hand-selected items delivered to your home, and then you buy what you love and send back the rest. And Daily Look offers free shipping both ways. It is that easy. It's time to get your own personal stylist with Daily Look. Head to dailylook.com to take your style quiz and use code VIALL50 for 50% off your first order. Once again, that's dailylook.com for 50% off. And make sure you use our promo code VIALL50 so they know we sent you. One last time, dailylook.com, promo code VIALL50.
Well, we don't have cats of our own. And
But I do really want one.
That's mostly my fault.
But now that Pretty Litter is a thing, honestly,
Natalie has not shut up about getting a new cat.
anyone who has a cat, Pretty Litter is for you. I know Nick's reason for us not getting a cat is because he's like, oh, the smell of the litter box, I can't do it. We can't change it. Well, Pretty Litter makes it so easy because it controls odors and it's low dust, non-toxic, pet safe, and household friendly. Pretty Litter also helps monitor your cat's health, detecting abnormalities in your cat's urine by testing acidity and alkalinity levels and showing the visible presence of blood. And Pretty Litter gives peace of mind. It changes color to indicate early signs of potential illnesses in your cat, like urinary tract infections, kidney issues, and more. The best part is you won't have to go out in the cold and lug huge tubs from the store to your car and then to your house because it ships right to your door.
Mary, owner of George Michael, can we get the Pretty Litter experience?
Oh my God, with Pretty Litter, George Michael, listen, if anything ever happened to my cat, George Michael, I don't know what I'd do. Before I started using Pretty Litter, I used to like literally go to sleep at night and I couldn't sleep because
You
I would
lived
just
in a world of unknowns.
I would just like I would wake up and look at him all the time and be like, oh my God, especially because he's a boy cat and they're like more like their pee can get, if they're not hydrated, it can get rocky in there. And
Rocky?
Literally.
yeah, they can literally get kidney stone, like little like
Pun
crystallized.
intended.
Yeah, they get crystallized urine and they can pee blood and they have to get their like it's a whole procedure.
and with
I
a
was always
typical
stressed
and with
out.
a typical litter
I
box,
wouldn't
you
know,
would just
but with-
disappear.
And then with pretty litter, I don't even have to worry. Pretty
You're
litter,
like, oh my
I
God,
can
it's,
just tell.
it's literally a paint palette in there.
It is. I can always tell. And the stress immediately went away. And I can sleep soundly knowing that George Michael is safe with his pretty litter. And I get to just enjoy my beautiful time with him.
Right now, save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy at prettylitter.com/VIALL. That is prettylitter.com/VIALL to save 20% on your first order and get a free cat toy. prettylitter.com/VIALL. Pretty Litter cannot detect every feline health issue or prevent or diagnose diseases. A diagnosis can only come from a licensed veterinarian. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details.
Should we get into 4, 5, and 6 of Mormon Wives?
Yeah. And then we'll get to Layla and Mayci. A lot happened. What happened? I can't even keep up. What? Well, the big storylines, we finally got to see the women talk about, we also had, just in case you guys didn't know, in case you're living under a rock, we had Jesse and Michaela on Tuesday's episode of Reality Recap. We got into this story with Michaela and Jesse. Well, obviously heard Jesse's point of view, who's front and center of this story. It's been tough. This season's been tough. I think for Nally and I.
Going back and forth with like the story.
Again, I just as an objective fan,
Mhm.
I really think it's hypocritical for us to enjoy watching these shows without at least acknowledging, regardless if we like these people or not, or what we think of them as humans, to like recognize that like they are doing this for our benefit. And
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
you know, like there's something to be said about that. With the Mormon Wives specifically, we've really gotten to know these women. And I've enjoyed on an individual level getting to know all these women.
Yeah.
And now that season 1 was great, it was heavy, but like compared to like season 2 is a lot darker.
Season
And
1, we're
there's-
talking about Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
And there's just like, and it was like, who's head of MomTok?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Will it survive?
Will
this
MomTok survive?
This is like real sides being chosen and real like friendships being broken and like
Yeah, these storylines about Demi going on, and we're getting into a territory that's
It's uncomfortable.
it's uncomfortable
Yeah.
because Demi's she's getting harder to defend as a fan, and as someone we've gotten to know personally, it's been a challenge.
I was going to say, even that conversation on the contracts, or like that Jesse sits on a hair empire. So like
Mhm.
Demi says that she should
Yeah.
step out of the show or something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like after hearing Jesse talk about it on Tuesday, and then watching it now in the episode, boy, Demi really, her versions of these events are very like watered down.
Right.
And the way she seems to justify, like, why do you deserve more money to me just because Jesse has found success outside of this show, that you deem yourself both a fan favorite and therefore and
That was wild.
then is making less money outside of MomTok and the show, that you think you're more entitled to more money. I mean, that's quite the choice.
And Taylor read her to filth with that. She was just like,
Yeah.
you would not be here if it's not for me, and I've never done that.
Oh my God,
yeah.
when Layla tried to have Demi's back, and she goes,
Oh,
when I'm done
yeah.
talking, when I'm done talking, and then she talks and she goes, all right, now go,
That was
I don't-
awesome.
truly Taylor's so badass.
That
She
was
loves her so
amazing.
much.
They're all professionals, but she's like Leon the professional.
Well, how many times do you hear people saying, I'm just so bad at conflict, I'm so bad at conflict. And like, she is the I'm bad at conflict hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, let me show you how to do it. Here's the playbook.
Yeah.
When I'm done talking.
All right, now go. And then the fact that she like had like the awareness to didn't be like, no, I promised you could talk after I got talking, and now the floor is yours.
And then Layla was just speechless, just like
I will say at Macy's like book reveal dinner, whatever, Demi's face the whole time. Maybe that's editing,
But no, because they were talking while at the same time, and her face was just like, I could not be happy for you if I tried.
It was, she was definitely like, it seemed not happy for Macy at all, which, I guess.
And also, I mean, not trying to comfort Demi, but it was like also watching these 3 episodes, her coming for Jen so hard while Jen's going through all of this tough time. Like, I'm just like, she's trying to repair her relationship with Zach. she's finding out she's pregnant in the midst of it all. She's not coming on this trip, and it's just
to
like
defend me, I don't think any of the women are aware of what's really going on.
Yeah,
with Jen.
Whitney's the one that tells them, and obviously
And
they all have issues with Whitney.
And Whitney doesn't even really tell them in a way that's like makes it feel important.
Yeah.
Whitney's like, Jen's sick. She's super sick on the bus. She says that to all of them. And then they get to the house and Macy's like, so, question of the weekend, like, where's Jen? She's like, so she's pregnant and sick. It's like, well, there's actually a lot more to
going
that
on.
if you wanted to share.
But I think that's what
Jen wanted.
Jen wanted, though.
Yeah.
She told Whitney, because Whitney was like, what do you want me? I actually thought Whitney was being a really good friend. Like, she stayed with Jen. She was like, I don't feel comfortable leaving until Zach gets back. She helped clean her house a little bit. And then she was like, what do you want me to say to the women? And then Jen told her, just say that I'm sick and pregnant. Because
Totally.
That's the
But
truth.
then she sat there and allowed the women to kind of like come at her as she's pregnant and being like, oh my God, a Band-Aid baby, a Band-Aid baby. And she could have been like, all right,
Yeah.
guys, a little too far. I don't feel like y'all know enough of the scenario to like talk about Jen this way. Maybe like have a conversation with her.
That is a crazy thing to say.
The Band-Aid baby.
Yeah.
thing
Band-Aid
was
baby
hard to
about a
listen to.
child, first of all, someone's existence.
right.
You're immediately saying that they're not even
You're
wanted.
putting a negative connotation on their
Yeah.
birth. Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to say.
I'll be honest, that was like, maybe it's just in the season of life I'm in, but like that, Jen finding out she was pregnant and that reaction was definitely a tough watch.
Yeah.
For me personally,
Yeah.
as
Sure.
someone who has been very much vocal about how much I would love to have a baby, and maybe it was just the season of life I'm in where it was very emotional for me, and maybe once I'm a little bit further away from this, I would be able to step back and see, you know, Jen as obviously her own person who goes through her own things, and she's not in a great place in her marriage, and she doesn't feel like she's great mentally to be welcoming a baby, and like the prepartum depression, postpartum depression, like all that's real. Like that's a real conversation. Obviously, jumping to Summer House, like I understand Amanda being like, I'm like just got my mental health okay. I'm not looking to like it's a hormone roller coaster.
Mhm.
So I understand Jen's feelings. It definitely was like a hard watch for me.
I mean, it's
But just I just
yeah.
wish like these women were more understanding. Like this is a baby at the end of the day, and she's pregnant, and they've all had children.
Yeah.
They all know what it's like. And for all of them, including Whitney, because she didn't have Jen's back in that moment, to sit there and kind of like not be happy for her in the slightest, but like kind of talk shit
Not
was
kind of.
yucky to see.
Not kind of. And then, Whitney's seemingly on her like redemption tour, and then you come to find out it's all calculated. She's just
Yeah.
deliberately being quiet and then trying to get other
Jesse
women
and
to
Demi.
fight, Jesse and Demi.
For her to like be so honest about that though too is kind of like awesome
I mean,
to see.
Is a fan of the show.
Yeah.
She's one of my favorites.
I'm kind of a Whitney stan, you guys.
You guys might have noticed that Whitney is the only one of the member of MomTok who has not been on this show. It is not
Please.
without constant communication from her team.
Please.
She's a prickly one. First, we invited her on with the rest of the ladies. Last season, I don't know, it was a lot of back and forth. I don't know. We finally were just like, we're not going to do it. We moved on. It was just too much heavy lifting for her demands. And then she wanted a solo appearance, of which we weren't willing to give her. And then she's the only one in the group who demanded she see all the episodes so that she could talk about them. And we were just like, you're just too much work. So we kind of moved on. Maybe we'll have her on in the future. I'm still a fan. Still just love the.
I'm
love the
afraid of
TikToks.
anyone who slaps a table when arguing. You know?
Mm.
Like
Fair
that
point.
conversation with Michaela where Michaela was calm as can be. And she's like, listen, you don't hold yourself accountable. And she slaps the table and raises her voice.
Sisterhood.
Sisterhood.
I'm out.
Sisterhood.
Sisterhood.
I-
That was
I'm
so
good.
funny.
Sisterhood.
I really think that Michaela has found her voice through hating Whitney.
Michaela
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
my favorite.
She's so good.
I had a feeling about her last season. Loved her in between seasons. This
Mhm.
season, she is shining. She's
Mhm.
just like saying it like it is. She's just like, I can be in a group setting with you. I have no interest in a friendship with you.
Yeah.
And like Whitney cannot handle it. She's just
Yeah.
like, why won't you just be fake and say you'll be my friend?
She's like,
I'm
we're
not.
coworkers, and that's fine, and that's all we're ever gonna be.
I mean, she hates her so much.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
much.
and it is petty.
No,
Yeah.
the round table with the gold box, and she's just like, will you ever be friends with Whitney? And she's
No.
like, no.
no,
Oh, what was
No.
her response when she goes, it's not doing it for me? When Whitney, what did Whitney say or do? Or Whitney asked a question and Michaela goes,
No. It was the twerking competition
Oh.
on the bus where Whitney's like, I'm gonna win, and she's like, all right, go. And she starts twerking, and Michaela goes, it's not doing it for me.
She like I love a hater.
Not them putting Michaela's twerk in slow mo. I was like, period.
She's, Demi has a lot of
She
thoughts
was
about being the
good.
fan favorite, but I think she might be usurped this season by Michaela.
And can I also give Zach his flowers for a second?
oh, I was going to ask. Yeah.
Dad talk.
He's starting to win me over. The conversation, even though like I didn't love his reaction to the whole Chippendales thing, but then seeing how he like came to the guys and was just like, I just want to have a respectful conversation and just try to like let you know that this is how I feel. I look up to you. Like he's just so well articulated and like I don't know. I just don't know why. Like I thought he was such a monster last season and this
Yeah,
season.
I was going to ask, as crazy as it sounds, do we think that Zach is like, he seems like he is trying to do better.
Yeah.
And he
Mhm.
seems like he is
Yeah.
acknowledging his mistakes and he is trying to show up as a husband for his wife
He has
and
a better
for his
haircut.
kids. He quit medical
haircut.
school. You can say what you want that maybe he's, because his wife's making money. Fine. But how many people out there like complain that their husband's emasculated by their wife's success? And again, maybe it's all an act. I don't know. He seems like he is trying to be better. I'm kind of like impressed.
He's handling himself so well too, because every time he tries to sit down and have an honest conversation with somebody, someone's like, well, your wife didn't communicate to you. Well, your wife is lying to you. And he's like, okay, well, I have to trust what my wife says.
Yeah, always has her back.
Yeah, he's not sitting here being like, okay, well, if you say so, then fuck her. Like he's like, all right, well, that's something that I have to communicate with my wife then, because that's not what I was told.
Yeah, I have kind of no notes for
Yeah.
Zach this season. I've been pretty impressed, and I give him a lot of credit for
How he's
the
handling
growth we're
himself.
seeing. I've
Yeah.
been
And I
impressed.
definitely like,
Mhm.
if I'm Zach, I also am like not a fan of the Chippendales dance. Like, I don't need my like husbands
Agreed.
that we're not even that close with, like half naked dancing on you in the middle of a party of a bunch of people we don't know.
To call it exposure
to
therapy.
yeah, like, I'm good.
Just let him in on the joke.
Right, like, yeah, it doesn't have to be a surprise.
That's not a surprise.
Mhm.
That's not a surprise at all.
That's an ambush.
Yeah.
In the flashback, like Demi and Jesse or whoever was telling Jen about the plan, like it definitely was different than how it ended up being. Like they literally had Jen sitting directly next to Zach, and then they were like grinding on her. And I agree with Zach when he says that what they did was, in my opinion, worse than what happened with Chad and Demi.
Chase,
Sorry, with same thing to me with Chase and Demi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Chase, he might have grazed her.
He might have even given a little pat.
I think it was like a hip.
Yeah, like a
pat
hip
that
bump.
like definitely was uncalled for.
It was inappropriate.
It wasn't a finger
Definitely
poke.
inappropriate. Yeah. It was like go check your man.
Yeah.
Like
Where's your
he was trying to
husband?
be like funny and cute and swaggy, and it wasn't
He didn't
any
have
of the
the
above.
swag.
And honestly, if I am Demi, I am also being like, let me get my fucking husband on your ass, bitch. So I see where she's coming from in that aspect, because if it was like one of the other husbands, I'd be like, okay, chill. But it's like an ex-husband causing drama, fighting with, like, yelling at Taylor in the middle of this party. Like, this man's gross. So the fact that she called her husband to, like, come get him, I wasn't too mad about. But I do, like, yeah, Zach has a great point of being like, how dare you, like, how is that different? Like,
Mhm.
you didn't have my consent for that shit. You didn't have Jen's consent for that shit. Like,
The only difference is that you made me watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I will say, if I were Jen, would I have come home from that hair appointment being like, Zach, the girls told me they have some idea at Halloween for some Chippendales thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know the extent. They mentioned some sort of Chippendales dancer and Bret and
Jordan.
Dakota.
Jordan,
Jason,
like
Jordan.
dancing or something. I don't know.
Yeah, my read on Jen is, like she's as flawed as any other human, and maybe she fibs here or there, but it seems to be the most unmalicious.
No ill intent.
Yeah, it
Innocent.
just I kind of feel,
She's like she's an embellisher.
and I feel like Jesse and Demi when it relates to their rivalry with Jen, I feel like they, at least in this moment in this season, are more confident in their voice, are more confident in themselves. I think they see a less confident person, a wounded and it kind of feels a little icky the way they're kind of
Kicking her when she's
Yeah.
down.
kicking her,
Ganging
you
up
know.
on her.
And like, is she not totally upfront or honest? I don't know. But that being said, Jen did find her voice when bringing up Vanderpump Villa.
Ooh, yeah, she did.
And we do have the Mayci and Layla interview coming up. They do get into not necessarily the details of what happened, but they better articulate their beliefs, I guess, on what might come on episode 3, or a lot of the conversations in this episode, like this accusation that Bret was unfaithful to Demi.
And this is just some sort of rumor that came out of nowhere?
This is her Macy's confessions
these
box.
these
Sinners anonymous
I mean,
tip box.
it's reality TV gold.
box.
Is the anonymous tips though? Or is this like an Instagram thing, or
This
was
was last season, remember?
This
This
I
is
keep getting confused. Or
this
is
is
this the
when-
gold box?
No,
it's a
this is-
producer going on Reddit and putting in rumors in the fucking
No,
box.
this is
Yeah.
this
No.
is Macy's Sunday Sinners or
Yeah.
Sinners for Sundays.
Sinner
They had
Sunday.
it last season when Taylor, the Dakota rumor came from a Sunday Sinner thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
It's
that
when
seems how
people
they
DM.
get. This seems like a clever way of inserting rumors into the TV show.
I'll also say
Yeah.
I didn't love the lunch with the 3 of them, with Taylor, Macy, and Michaela, where Macy's like, "Oh, I got this confession on my Sinner Sundays," and Taylor goes, "Oh, is it about me?" And she goes, "Well, there's a lot that are always about you." Like, that
The-
was unnecessary.
Yeah.
That's
But
'cause
these
last
girls are
season.
like strays are
Like-
flying on a regular.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say that to my friend. Like, sure, let me give you some anxiety. Yeah, I get a shit ton of like confessions about your life in my Sinner Sunday.
Do you remember how we ended last season?
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy about this season is that like we still have Taylor and Dakota and that whole relationship to try to unpack and their
Mhm.
crazy lives. And it's kind of like a B storyline.
At this
Honestly,
point, yeah, this new batch of episodes, I was just like, oh, who gives a shit about Sunday dinner?
Yeah.
What about the skinny dipping? Did y'all?
Hot.
Oh
Next.
my god.
For sure.
Let the record be said that Justin said that, not me. They weren't really skinny dipping. They had
No.
underwear on.
Demi was all about it.
Underwear.
Of course, Mary's like, why did they take their...
It definitely wasn't skinny
No,
dipping.
I mean,
it was like
I-
free
I
boobing.
thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I was like, they are wearing underwear.
That's
This
not
is
skinny
real.
dipping. No.
Yeah, have you
Grow
seen an
up.
episode of Vanderpump
That
Rules
is
on
sexist
Stassi's
skinny
birthday?
dipping because that's just called a swimsuit for men. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah,
Tis
Uh-huh.
a Speedo.
equality.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do it at Cannes, but you can do it on The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
That's true. Honestly, and like the conversation with Demi and Bret, where she's like, "Oh yeah, we're all about to go skinny dipping." He's like, "Are they still filming?" She's like, "Yeah, we're still filming." He's like, "Then no, you don't." And she was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna finish washing my face. Love you, good night." She's like, "I'm not going skinny dipping."
And then the girls are like, I cannot believe you would let your husband tell you whether you can go skinny dipping on national television or not.
Yeah, I love how like anytime a husband has an opinion, he's controlling.
Right, right.
Which, like,
It's like maybe he just made Demi realize that there will be like people,
His
maybe
children.
men.
Maybe his
Well,
kids.
no, maybe like men behind the cameras holding the boom boom speakers that maybe like we don't need them to see your boobs.
Yeah.
I
And the
don't
rest-
know.
And the rest of America when it
And
airs.
the editors when they're putting a blur over your boobs, maybe they don't need to see them either. Like valid.
Yeah.
yeah.
The things
So-
we forget when watching TV.
Mhm.
Truly.
There are
Honestly, Brett seems like
Some
a
low
big
post PA.
protector.
I mean, that's honestly what every time they got naked in Vanderpump, I was like, oh my, these editors, the cameramen, they're just coochies right there.
Early
Yeah.
seasons of Summer House, they would literally, I'd be like, I've seen Kyle's ass more than I've seen my own.
How often do you look at your own ass?
not as much, I guess, because I was jarred every time. I was like, oh my god,
That's what it looks like.
that's not mine.
That's what that is.
Well, speaking of Demi and Bret, Mayci and Layla have a lot of thoughts and opinions on their relationship and so much more, and they are coming up next.
Decorating your walls can feel overwhelming, but Mixtiles makes it fast and easy. They've completely reinvented the way that you upload, print, design, and hang your favorite photos. Mixtiles helps you turn your most cherished memories into a stunning home gallery without the hassle. No tools, no holes, no crooked frames, just beautiful museum quality prints that hang perfectly every time. Mixtiles uses a revolutionary magnetic hanging system that makes decorating painless. Just peel the magnet, stick it on your wall, and pop your frame photo right in. That's it. No tools, no damage, no mess.
It's an amazing gift.
Honestly, it's so girl coded. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have, like, and honestly, they kind of like level themselves out. Like, you don't even need a leveler. You know, like, it's just so easy to put them on your wall and create magic in your own home. There's so many pictures of River that I've had printed out that I was like, oh God, now I gotta go and get the frames and the hooks and the nails. Nope, not with Mixtiles. It's so incredibly easy, and it really turns your house just overnight into a
homey home. And honestly, if you have, we all have friends that are moving into new apartments, new places, new homes, and if you want to make them feel right at home in the new place,
it's a great gift.
It's a fantastic gift.
Great gift. They also have hundreds of styles and colors, size combinations, so you can really create a look that you're going for. If you're like an aesthetically pleasing, like you only do black and white, they have that frames. If you want like a majority of different ones, they really make a gallery wall very easy, or big, huge prints very easy. Whatever your style is, Mixtiles has you covered. Turn your favorite memories into stunning, affordable wall art. For a limited time, our listeners get 35% off on all orders above $139. Just head to Mixtiles.com and use code VIALL, and you're all set. That's code VIALL at Mixtiles.com. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask where you heard about Mixtiles, tell them it was from our show. That's called the Viall Files, if you didn't know.
You know how hard it is to find clean, ethical, and trustworthy supplements. It's crazy just how untrustworthy some of those supplements are out there, but not Symbiotica, and they have been by my side in 2025 as I've been on my health kick journey.
I can't tell you how many of those little packets are all over the floorboard of my car. And honestly, I don't mind, because they are very cute and they're very effective and they're very easy to throw in a purse and just like slurp up at a red light. It's very easy.
Yeah, and we've been traveling quite a bit, and we've been able to stay on that routine because Symbiotica makes it easy and convenient to do that with their personalized packets that are just for you.
They also taste delicious, and you can take them on an empty stomach, which is...
Well, it's rare, because usually you have to have a full stomach, and, who wants that?
It only takes 30 seconds a day to get all of the nutrients that you need. They have a formula to support your health goals, everything from energy, digestion, immunity, and mood. Symbiotica is one of the most trustworthy brands out there. They never compromise on quality and sourcing. Their products are free from seed oils, preservatives, toxins, or artificial additives. It's something you can taste and feel in every packet. Go to Symbiotica.com/VIALL to get 20% off plus free shipping. That's CYMBIOTIKA.com/VIALL for 20% off plus free shipping.
Layla, Mayci, welcome back.
Thank you. Excited
So
to
good
be
to see you
here.
both of you. You look great.
Thank
Congratulations
you. Thank
on
you
the
so much.
pregnancy. Well, first, let's start. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, actually. I feel like the older you get, though, the harder pregnancy is. Because I'm like, why does this one feel harder than the other two? But we're also like filming a show.
Yeah,
so I'm like, maybe that's why we're doing a lot. But overall, everything's great.
Let's just stay on the pregnancy for now. I mean, obviously, I am curious because just when Natalie got pregnant, like all I cared about was it's my only job is to protect her peace. Like, you just,
Yes.
everyone's, if you brought in bad energy, I was like, get the fuck out, like I didn't give a fuck,
Yeah, I know, actually.
Obviously doing what you ladies do, which, and I always say this, like, I'm so appreciative of you ladies, of, of this show. It's like, we love reality TV. And if you're a reality TV fan, this is, one of the best ones on TV, but it takes a lot
out of you
women. You are so generous with your vulnerability, with your lives, opening up about so many personal things, but obviously that brings a lot of stress.
It does.
And how do you manage that with the pregnancy?
So I feel like, season 2, I don't know how much it shows, but I know you guys have seen it. We haven't even seen it. But I was doing IVF during it, and my whole mood, my mantra for season 2 is like, I'm going to be at peace, because like for me to have this work and like become a successful pregnancy, you have to be so relaxed and stress-free during IVF. So I feel like I haven't seen it, but I feel like I was fairly chill because I was really just trying to protect my peace all season. And my husband was very aware of that. So we were very like in a peaceful environment. Now that I'm pregnant,
I'm not at peace, I would say. I feel like a lot more fiery. Layla knows. I've already yelled at her once.
She scares me a little bit.
Did you do IVF for all of your babies?
Not my first, but it was a different dad. So we have a different situation. It's kind of personal, so we never get too into it because it's personal to Jacob. But so we did, my last daughter was IVF, and then this baby's IVF.
Gotcha.
And we have one more embryo in the freezer, so I feel like I can't really leave a soldier behind.
No.
So I feel like we'll probably have at least one more because I feel we're just leaving. If it was like 3 in there, I'd be like, it's fine.
got
But like,
friends,
it's
yeah.
just one
by
So I
themselves,
feel like
yeah.
bad.
Personal question. I
Yeah.
mean, Natalie and I have opened up about miscarriages that she experienced, and it's just a lot. And when you're going through that back-to-back miscarriages, all of a sudden your doctor starts saying things like, "Well, there's always IVF," and like
Yeah.
obviously we're very privileged if that is something that we had to count on. We were
Yeah.
certainly in a position to take advantage of, and we feel
Yeah.
very lucky. But certainly, like Natalie, her, even me, I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
Natalie was very quickly like, I really hope I don't have to.
Yes.
But like for someone who has done it, what can you offer or advice just for anyone who is considering it, just even speaking to Natalie, if that's
Yeah.
something that I feel very fortunate to be in a position
Yeah.
to take advantage of it, if it's something that is an option for us.
Mhm.
But, what can you offer to the people listening that if that is something that they have to use because traditional methods
Yeah,
aren't working
working.
for them,
Yeah.
what can you say to offer them support, peace, what to look out for, any type of
Yeah.
advice?
I mean, I would say I went into it really blind, like when I first did it, because I mean, like I had a son from a previous relationship. And so for me, I remember thinking when I got pregnant at 19, I was like, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing that ever happened. But I was like, well, at least I'll never be someone that has to do IVF because, and then of course, like, I think I jinxed myself. I don't know what happened. But anyways, I think for me, the process was, I don't want to like scare anyone, but it was harder than I thought it was going to be going into it. I thought the worst part was like, oh, the shots and the needles, because I don't like shots and needles. Like it makes me squeamish. But for me, I think it's more the mental aspect because the hormones are like so intense. And so whenever you do, at least for me, because I've done 2 rounds now of the egg retrieval, that to me is the worst part because I think that it's more just the mental aspect. Like your hormones are so out of whack that I feel like they'd be like, I'd go to an appointment, like you have 12 follicles. I'm like, 12? I'm like, I thought I had more than that. Like I'd like freak out, But it's like you get really scared because like you just don't know what your results are going to be. And I think because the first time I did IVF, I was expecting to get like 20 eggs. And then came out of surgery and they're like, you got 9. And I was like, how? Because I'm like, I don't know. I've not been told I have any issues. So like, I mean, not that it matters, but still. And so then the second time we actually got 17, but I was freaking out because they're like, you have 12 follicles. I'm like, that means somebody should make 12 eggs. And like, it's just like a whole process. And I think it's because women go through this and it's like such a financial burden as well. And so I think that's what makes it so intense. Like if this was free and it was no problem, it's like, okay, like we could just do it again. But besides that, it's also like the hormones. And it's like obviously not like a super healthy process because you're like changing your body and like you put your body almost into menopause at certain parts of the journey and like your whole, it really screws with your brain is what I will say. But besides all the negative, I will say obviously like the most amazing miracles come from it. Like I have my daughter because of IVF and then I have this baby and one more embryo. So like I'm so incredibly grateful because it gives people a chance to have kids who maybe either couldn't or maybe they have genetic issues. Like there's so many reasons why people do it. And so I think it's just an amazing thing. So for me, despite all the negatives, it is like 100% worth it. And I'm so like grateful for like the process.
And is there, I mean, I'm sure there was a lot, but is there one thing that you can share that Jacob did throughout that process that made you feel super supported?
I think like for me, it's like because if I just turn into a bitch, if he's just nice to me, I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, because like, I'll know it. Even now being pregnant, I'm like, I know I'm being a bitch. Yeah. So thank you for like allowing me to do that and like not ever being snappy with me.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just like feeling just like loved and supported. Like I feel like Jacob's really good at being like, let's go get your favorite drink. Like, let me get you breakfast. Like doing things without asking for me is the biggest thing. Like before he left on this trip here, he woke me up with like breakfast in bed. So like for me, it's like little things like that where I'm like, that makes me feel so like appreciated and like loved. And like now I don't have to like make breakfast or think about like things that make your life easier, I think in general, like little things that are thoughtful, like getting my favorite drink. I'm like, yes, that made my day so much better. Like it's the little things, truly.
Layla, are those things that Cameron didn't ever do or?
No, he was very love bomby at the beginning of our relationship, came in very hot and strong. I think he said, I love you to me 2 weeks into seeing each other, just very from the get-go, just like I'm going to like overload you with like affection and gifts and things like that. And that's something that I definitely needed at that point in my life. I was very insecure, just kind of like going through a lot mentally. So he was exactly what like I needed. And I feel like he knew exactly what to do to kind of like snatch me and get me in. So yeah.
So obviously a big part of the season was you opening up about orgasms or lack thereof.
Yeah.
And all jokes aside, listen, you know, this is one of my favorite reality TV shows of all time, and certainly one of the best ones on TV today, because it's not only funny and dramatic, but you women do talk about like very serious and very relatable issues that women across this country and the world go through. And one of them is just like, often is the case, and like in bed, like women can be forgotten about when it comes to pleasure. And then obviously you know, the Mormon religion can play a role. What has this show brought you in terms of opening your eyes, in terms of like what you are entitled to when it comes to enjoying sex and intimacy and things like that?
I think it's definitely a super taboo subject, especially like within our church. I feel like you're taught your whole entire life, do not have sex till you're married. And then magically when you're married, you're supposed to just enjoy it and like know how to do it and everything like that. And I feel like that's not common. And it's hard to like learn your body too when like there's a lot of shame around it in the church or you're married that you can't have it. And I feel like just me personally, I was ashamed to kind of like get to know myself and know what would help me have an orgasm. I just always felt like shameful around it and I didn't want to explore and figure out like what would get me there. And yeah, it took a lot to kind of get over that mental hump that finally like was able to like help me get there. It was just definitely more of like a mental game for me because I feel like I had like the tools to like get there. I felt like I knew what possibly could, but it was just kind of like every time I would do it to myself or like things like that, I always just felt like dirty after almost. And that's kind of just like the shame that like we have in our church kind of to begin with.
Yeah.
So once I finally got past that mental hump, I feel like that's what kind of like helped me.
She's never been more relaxed.
I know.
Truly.
Well, you were, I mean, you and Jesse were like closest to Demi, I feel like, first season.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been a huge rift. We see that Demi is very much on like the outskirts. What happened to your friendship with Demi?
I think personally for me, the behaviors that I saw were just so alarming that I couldn't just kind of turn a blind eye to it. And I try to give a lot of people grace. That's something that I'm very big on. I'm very big on forgiving and like giving people second chances. But for me personally, seeing what she did to Jesse and just kind of honestly how evil it was, I was like, what makes me think that she's not going to go and try to do this to me? And then she did things to Taylor as well. And I just felt like it was a pattern that was repeating itself. And I didn't want to be caught on the wrong end of it. So I was just like, I'm going to take a step back. I'm not going to surround myself with her anymore. And ultimately, if she wants to come back one day and kind of like share her side of the story and make amends with people, I feel like I'm open to that. But every conversation I have had with her, unfortunately, has ended negative on her end. And it's name calling and it's just very mean. And I feel like she kind of shows her true colors in those moments. And just, I don't need to surround myself with people like that talk down to me and make me feel bad about myself. So I think just ultimately, I just don't really have a space for her.
When you say what she did with Jesse, are you referring to Jay-Z Styles? Are you referring to the contract disputes?
Yeah.
Are you referring to Vanderpump Villa or all of the above?
All of the above. I feel like it was just kind of, I feel like the first thing, the contract thing, I was like, oh, well, Jesse forgave her. And I feel like that's kind of how like we all mutually felt that we were like, okay, like Jesse and them are good. So like, that's fine. We'll let it pass. And then the hair thing came up and I was like, oh, okay, that's a little weird. And then now the Vanderpump thing came and I was like, it's repeating itself. And I feel like at this point, if we were to just keep turning a blind eye, I feel like that would be kind of dumb of us almost. I feel like at some point you kind of need to wake up and see like the warnings and kind of take a step back.
I think something, and we talked about this with Jesse and Michaela, is that I think, you know, as a fan of the show and as viewers, I think we kind of all just assume that the group of you were just kind of this tight group of friends that have been a tight group of friends for years.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to be the case, right? Like some of you were like you and Michaela were friends, you, Michaela and Whitney were like a group. And then it seems like Demi kind of almost got brought in solo.
Yeah.
And you all of you women kind of got to know her through this show. Is that accurate?
Well, what I would say is that, so originally when the show was like a thing, we're about to film the pilot, Demi started hitting me and Michaela up and she was like wanting to hang out. And so we're like, okay, like we hung out a couple times at like one of our friends' house, went swimming, all that stuff. And she kept being like, you guys got to get me on that show. And so I remember me and Michaela being a little skeptical of her at first, being like, well, what are you willing to do to get on it? Like, why do you want to be on it so bad? Because me and Mikhail were kind of skeptical of even going on the show. We're kind of like, I don't know if I even want to go on it.
Yeah.
So why do you want it so bad? And so I think we were always had our guard up a little bit with her. But like, I would say like we were still pretty close. And I think me, Michaela, Demi, Jesse even got closer like season 2 and stuff. And behind the scenes, we're hanging out all the time. Like I invited Demi to my birthday in February. She ended up coming because I told her like Jesse's going to be there and Taylor probably. So just so you know. And she opted out, which was completely fine. But I think, yeah, like I don't feel like she was ever just like on an island, you know, like I feel like she was brought in and we all accepted her and loved her like fairly quick though.
That's the thing. It's just like season 1, she seemed to really be welcomed.
Yeah.
So much so that I thought you guys had been friends for years.
Yeah.
I guess the reason why I asked that question, and I think the answer is it's probably obvious. You guys seem as shocked as I think us fans are
Yeah.
in terms of your opinion of how your opinion of Demi has changed from getting to know her originally to now.
Yeah.
I think we've all been a little bit shocked, to be honest. And I think things that we've heard and seen, like even I was like, I need to see receipts because like I'm having a hard time comprehending that this is like actually happening. And again, I think it's because like, I mean, we love Demi. Like she's so fun and like hilarious and things like that. But then you're seeing this like kind of mean girl behavior where I'm like, I mean, I think we saw glimpses of it, but like she brushes it off a lot with humor. So it's like, and I love like a good humor. Like I don't get offended very easily, so it never has bothered me. But I think this time it's different because it's stuff that it is like,
it's real life.
Kind of like career ruining for people that she's just okay doing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just kind of different this time.
Yeah. I'm not sure what you women can say, but I have to ask because we have interviewed Miranda. We've interviewed Demi and Bret.
Yeah.
We interviewed Miranda the morning when Jesse and Demi, I think you were in the comments with Marciano's post at the Hulu's Get Real event. So we asked Miranda about it, and obviously we wanted to be very delicate because that was after we got a chance to interview Demi and Bret, and Demi opened up about these accusations, these claims, which obviously we took very seriously. So I was a bit taken back and surprised by, you know, Jesse's comments online, and then Miranda, who really didn't have any, it was quick to say that she questioned me. And as we said with Jesse and Michaela, like we want to believe victims, you know, people can be victims and it can look all different sorts of ways. You know, a lot of people like to poke holes in people's stories and things like that. But it's been shocking to me and that everyone I've talked to of your group and people on the outside of the group but close to the group, everyone seems to be questioning her story and her intentions. And I would just love to hear what you women think.
I mean, it's a really difficult situation, and to be in this situation to begin with, I personally am a victim of sexual assault and domestic violence. So like for me, I'm someone who believes like all women. Like you tell me this happened, I'm going to believe you. So that is obviously no question in my mind. I think in this situation, it's very complicated because I mean, like we've heard what happened in the past. And of course, we all supported Demi and believed her and everything like that. I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying like there has been things, and without getting too deep into it, that don't add up, that aren't logical, that don't make sense. And I get that like not everyone handles the situation similarly. Like me, myself, I never reported because like I was in a situation where I was blackmailed. So I literally couldn't. But the situation is very complicated because obviously we always want to support. But like when there's things happening that maybe don't make sense or that just aren't logical to anyone, you have to kind of question, because there's also times in certain situations where the men takes the hit for something they didn't do anything. And I'm not saying that's the case here. I'm just saying that that happens as well. And so I think if you just completely turn a blind eye and being like, no, then, and I mean, it's so complicated because I don't want to get too deep in it, but when the story changes constantly too, it's a little confusing. I think that's why a lot of us are confused because the story has changed a lot, you know?
Layla, you were there for Vanderpump Villa. What are your thoughts on the situation?
I think, ultimately when it comes down to it, I think the word to just describe it is confused. I think you should always believe a victim. If someone's coming forward and they're claiming that they were assaulted, you should always believe them. But I think for me, I'm a very logically driven human, and I feel like I need factual based things to prove what's happening in a situation. And I feel like right now there's just a lot of he said, she said. And just like you said, I was there in the villa, and there definitely was some things that were happening that were interesting for a married woman to be participating in, I think personally. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, I didn't see what she's claiming and I didn't see those things happen. So I can't speak on something that I didn't see.
What was y'all's reaction to her quote unquote plan for the finale of season 1
Wait, which plan? Sorry, I'm.
with Dakota.
Oh,
very interesting. I think that was, we were all very confused on why that even
yeah,
went into her head as
yeah.
something that would be okay on Brett's end, on Dakota's end,
Yeah.
on Taylor's end, on her end. It was just very interesting.
And I think when it was brought up in season 2, I'm assuming you see that where it's brought up towards the end. Was that brought
Was
up?
it Jesse and Michaela just told us about it?
Okay,
I don't know
so
if
maybe it's not in season 2 because it was
It's not in
talked-
season 2.
Okay, well, it
Yeah.
was talked about, and basically when it was talked about, Taylor brought up and being like, and that was weird that you wanted to do that. And then Demi was like, it's basically saying it wasn't weird. She's like, and you guys can back me up on that. And me and Jesse were like, I did think it was a
No.
little weird. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want that perception, to be honest, as a
Yeah.
married woman, to be like, let me fake this like affair. Like,
yeah.
that would never be something I would want to do, you know? So it is interesting.
Layla, I don't know what you can say, but I have heard rumors.
Mhm.
Vanderpump Villa's out.
Yeah.
We can watch it.
Yes.
I have been told there's a lot that didn't make
Yeah.
the cutting room floor, so
Yeah.
to speak. When you watched it back, were you frustrated or surprised there were certain things not in it?
Definitely surprised. That conversation that Marciano and Demi had, especially, that was like a 2.5 hour long conversation that everyone in the castle that day was like, they're still talking. Like, that's interesting. We would kind of like peek in and out and they're still talking. And that conversation got very, very, very dwindled down. And then there's side conversations that they would have as well too, that where he would make little weird comments towards her and then like she wouldn't necessarily like shut them down, and like I was present for them, so like I can say that those were happening, and none of those were shown too. So I just think there's definitely a lot of moments that were not shown.
We interviewed Demi and Bret, and he seems incredibly supportive. They seemed really connected. What's your opinion of Bret? Do you think he is?
Poker face is just like completely gone.
Do you think he
I'm trying
is?
hard.
Do you think they are aligned with Demi's behavior, or do you think he is a supportive husband who's also kind of being played?
I mean, I feel like we talk about this in our friend group so much right now because we're like, we don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be because I feel like if you've seen some of the things that have been said between Demi and Marciano, I don't know how you can
It's
play along
weird,
with
yeah.
that, as like, I would never want to see my husband texting certain things or saying certain things and being okay with that. So like, part of me thinks like, he must not know. But at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe he does, and he's just being supportive, and like they're moving on with a certain narrative to protect their marriage. I really don't know. Like, whatever they choose, that's up to them. Like, it's none of our business
Yeah.
what they're doing in their marriage. Like, and that's completely fine. I think it is confusing though, because I'm like, what's going on?
And I think at the end of the day with that situation, Jordan's try to present him things and say like, hey, like this happened, and he chose to like ignore it. So I think at the end of the day, like we can show him all these things, and if he chooses to stay, then that's up to him. Like, it's his marriage. That's his wife. If he chooses to like ignore that behavior, I would never personally, if I was married and I've seen that behavior from my spouse. But I mean, like, it's to each their own.
Do
I
you
guess.
think she will return for season 3?
Do you think she will want? Because like, well, and I want just to clarify Nellie's
Yeah.
question. When we talked to them,
She was done.
especially Brett, and pretty much her as well, were like talking as if they were done. Jesse and Michaela don't think she is. Again, I like, contracts aside, and
Yeah.
I don't. Obviously, you're not allowed to say whether she is or isn't, but like, I just want your opinion on whether she will want to return, regardless if she is either allowed or
Yeah.
welcomed back. Do you think she will try to return at some point?
I think I'm shocked personally that she hasn't come back already.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Okay.
like I thought her return. I think she will come back. Yes, and I thought her return honestly was going to happen sooner than this.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of shocked already that she hasn't come back yet. I just think personally, from me, I don't think I could go on with the accusations that are being made without like clearing my name. So I think at this point, like, she has to come back, I feel like.
Yeah,
But
or
I
I
don't
think
know.
if she doesn't come back like for season 3, then maybe she takes like a skip on that and then goes to season 4, because
Yeah.
I'm like, as it is, if you're not getting paid and you're being talked about probably the most. So I mean,
Yeah.
might as well come clear your name, at least I would want to.
I
you
would
know?
too, yeah.
Macy, where do you stand with Whitney these days?
We're not like close friends by any means. I would say we're cordial, but I'm not entertaining like a friendship there any longer.
Were you as confused as I was as a viewer when you went to her to try to get her to reflect on not showing up to your was it your birthday party, a launch party?
My
Launch-
baby mama launch
Yeah.
party.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Love everything you're doing. Whitney's not stupid. Like, if she might be a lot of things, but she's not stupid. She's a very I think intelligent person. But why does she think she can get away with playing so dumb in some of
That's
these
yeah.
moments.
I mean, you and me both. I question that as well. I'm like, are you just really like not self-aware? Because I feel like we've had so many conversations, like even off camera, and I think you see that on camera where like I was the one who wrote the truth box confession saying, "Do you regret not going to Macy's event?" Mainly because I was going to help clear her name in a way, because we had a conversation a month prior talking about it, and we've had multiple conversations where I was like saying like, well, you can still regret not coming even if you weren't in the place, because I'm like, I feel like I would regret not supporting my friend. I'm like, so if you look up regret, like you can regret not coming, but still like being like, I wasn't in the place mentally and I wish I was. So I regret that, but that sucks. And she told me on the phone, she's like, well, maybe I have to look up what regret means. And so she Googles it on the phone and she's like, oh, okay, I guess I do regret that. And then we do the truth box and she's like, no, I don't. I'm like, am I like losing my mind? So I'm like, I'm actually like so confused. And then, yeah. And again, like I think we have other conversations on the show where I'm just like, let's just agree to disagree. And it's like not good enough for her. And she like wants to keep pushing and be like, well, I want like, again, it was too exhausting. I think for me with Whitney, like I wish her the best and I'm fine to be cordial and friendly, but I feel like I was always in a friendship test where like even towards the end of season 2, like she texted me when we were done rapping being like, you purposely didn't sit next to me. And then you said this. And I'm like, wait, like I'm too exhausted. I can't be constantly like watching my back being like, oh, is she going to think I looked at her funny today? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's exhausting. And I was tired. Like season 1, like it was so tiring dealing with the emotional stress, like of being her friend. Like I loved her and I wanted to support her, but even off camera, I'm dealing with everything and being like, hey, like, how can I support you? I'm sending her crumble cookies. I'm trying to be like a great friend to her. And then it's like season 1 finished and it was like ghost town. I still reached out to her, never usually got responses. And then all of a sudden, once the show's about to come out, it's almost like she needed me as an ally, or like she's about to go on a podcast, so she could call me the day before and be like best friends with me. So it almost seemed like it was like a plan in a way to be like have me on her side as an ally. And I didn't feel like I realized these things until later where I was like, actually, she honestly never really was a great friend to me. And so I think once I realized that over time, then I was like, I'm good to be friendly, cordial. I wish you the best, but I can't put my time and effort into this. Because I know Michaela probably has very strong feelings. And even season 2, she'd be like not wanting me to be friends with her. And I'm like, I am a type of person that I have to decide for myself. I have to figure it out for myself. And so I'm not going to just not be friends with someone because you don't like her, you know? So, but over time I realized I'm like, wait, actually, she never really was a great friend to me. And it just took me a while to realize that.
Layla, what do you make of Demi and Whitney's newfound friendship?
Very convenient,
Like,
I think would be the
convenient.
great word to use. I think for the longest amount of time, they were like enemies, basically. Like Demi, the amount of shit she talked on Whitney was astronomical. I mean, she does it to a lot of people, but it was pretty heavy in the way that she treated her too. Like, I think I would use the word like bullying. So to now have them very close and kind of like together, I feel like it's because they kind of don't necessarily have anyone else in the group at the moment. And again, that's on their end. If they want to come forward and kind of like take full accountability for like everything else aside on Demi's end, if they want to take accountability for just like not being bestest of friends, and like maybe they would have other people in the group that they could lean on. And I feel like it would be very telling if they started to like kind of like drift apart after that. But yeah, I just feel like it's very convenient.
They became friends because they had a common enemy, which was Taylor. Demi is beefing with Taylor, and all of a sudden she becomes friends with Whitney, who is fine with Taylor at that moment. But then I think as soon as Whitney has a chance to not like Taylor again, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what it seemed like happened from all of our perspectives. But I mean, I guess, whatever, I guess.
You and Jacob seem like a really healthy and wonderful couple. He seems like a really stand-up guy.
Yeah.
What do you guys make, I guess, just of the rest of the couples?
Oh, no.
Jen and Zach. I mean, I will say I asked Jesse and Michaela, at least Jen and Zach's interactions, I've been really impressed with Zach.
Yeah.
He seems like he at least is trying to take accountability and make some changes. I don't know if that's, for TV or authentic. I look forward to like learning and getting to know him more.
Yeah.
But I'm just generally curious about like when you and Jacob get together and you're sitting, off camera, like what do you make of just some of these other relationships like Dakota and Taylor and Jen and Zach, specifically, I guess those two, and just how toxic they seem?
I mean, I definitely have more opinions than Jacob. I feel like Jacob's such an easy, like, relaxed guy. He's like, well, they're trying, like, like he's so nice. I feel like he'll never say anything, but I'll come to him and being like, oh yeah, and then so and so said this and Zach did this, and I think, I feel like the more I film and hear more with these couples, I'm like just grateful. And for my relationship, I'm like, wow, I got really lucky. But also, I went through the ringer to find my husband too. Like, I was in an abusive relationship, and then I lost my son's father. So I feel like for me, I'm like, I deserve him because I feel like I went through a lot to get to this man. And I think when you have toxic relationships in the past, you know that like I never want this again. And so I think that's how I found Jacob. It's like probably the most normal one. So I do feel very grateful when I see these couples. Of course, Taylor and Dakota. I mean, it's no. I'm not shy about how I feel about that one for sure. And I think I get shit because the people are like, well, why don't you go tell Jen this too? And I'm like, I can only handle one at a time, to be honest. And at this rate, like they're married, they're working on it. I'm like, Taylor and Dakota aren't married. So I feel like it's a little different where it's like you don't have that commitment yet to where I'm as concerned, I guess. But I'm not a huge fan of Dakota. And I'll be completely honest. He knows that. Not at all. Actually, like the way that Michaela feels about Whitney is probably how I feel about Dakota. I had that same energy.
Say more. Because like watching it back, and clearly he's not a perfect person. No one is. But when I watch it, like I'm always looking for ways to try to have empathy with people.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I am too.
Like
I'm an empath for sure.
I mean, you seem to be clearly the most forgiving person, which is why I'm just kind of very fascinated by your opinion. But yeah, I see a hurt man who's really been through a lot. But why do you have such a strong point of view about Dakota?
I think for one, he triggers me. He reminds me a lot of my abusive ex-boyfriend. He does a lot of the same things. And I think in season 1, I was like, I'm not saying you're that person because I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And then over time, I'm like, he is that person. And I think he can be a good person, but him with Taylor, he's not a good person. And I just don't think they're good for each other in general. But there's a lot more that happens behind closed doors that you won't even see on the show that I know. And so for me, knowing those things, of course, I'm going to ride for my friend and like be protective of my friend because I've also been through a similar situation. So I'm hearing the similarities and I'm like, oh, like it like irks me to my core. And I just want to help. And unfortunately, you know, he can't tell Taylor what to do, obviously. Like, she's going to do probably the opposite of what your advice is. But I think it's just hard to watch, especially to see your friend get hurt over and over again and then still go back and you're like, what are you doing? Like, it is like so frustrating. There's a point in time where I almost had to step back and be like, do what you want. I just can't watch because it was like, again, I think he just triggers me because he reminds me a lot of my ex, but for good reason because he is a lot like him. And he sabotages things. I'm like, why do you think Taylor didn't show up today? Of course, it's always him behind the scenes sabotaging things.
So I should blame Dakota. Not
1,000%. It's like anytime Taylor has a big event coming up. Last year for press,
New York press,
the press in LA. Yeah. She almost didn't show up because he purposely gets in fights with her, sabotages things. She's crying. She doesn't want to go do press. He sabotages all the exciting things, like. You know what I mean? Like, if your wife had a great opportunity coming up, you wouldn't be like, let me start a fight right before she leaves, right? Like, even if you were mad at her, something was going on, you'd probably be like, we'll save it for later. I want them to succeed. I want them to be their best. He doesn't. And I think it's almost like a competition almost. Like, I think he's so insecure that he has to bring her down to his level, to be honest. And it's hard because this is exactly how I feel, so I'm just saying it. But then we do have to sometimes film in group settings, and he's a very nice, likable guy, and I genuinely get along with him. So it's almost conflicting to me sometimes because I'm like, oh, like, why are you the way you are behind closed doors? Like, I wish you were like this person to the front, like, all the time.
Do you feel like he like performs for the cameras?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I always say that he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I stand by that. 100%.
Well, we touched on it in a little bit in the beginning, but Layla, you had a boyfriend.
I did.
All of season 2.
Yes.
And now he's dead.
And now,
I was like, he is.
No, sorry.
Now,
he's not with us.
He's not
with you.
No,
anymore.
not with you.
Yeah.
What happened in that relationship?
Honestly, it was a very short relationship. We were together for maybe 3 months. And like I said, he came in very strong and hot from the beginning. And we talked about like marriage and like engagement in a very short amount of time frame, which was pretty crazy, like looking back. But again, I think he saw how vulnerable I was and he knew exactly what to say to me. And I feel like me too, being a single mom, that's something that like I long for, is like to have a complete family and to like have a partner to come home to at night, especially in this environment when I see so many happy couples. I want that so badly for myself. And I think he knew exactly what to say to like snatch me in. And then we ended up not working out because he felt like morally we didn't align, which he's very contradictory in some ways, that like he said that he wanted to be like a more active member of the church. And when we were together, he told that to me and I was like, okay, well, this is something that's really important to him. So I'm going to try to like be more active for him. So we would go to church together. And then 5 minutes into us being at home, he's trying to rip my clothes off and have sex with me. So it's just like, it's the double standard that like I hate. and I do not appreciate. And then he also didn't like the show, which was interesting because he knew about the show on our first date. He didn't like me modeling, but I feel like that's kind of like an insecurity thing.
Like
so I think
insecure.
He showed up to film.
Yeah.
he was on the show multiple times, as you guys saw. So it's just, it's
Yeah.
very interesting that like he said those things once we were breaking up. I can't say completely because like I don't know what his intentions were, like talking to me at all. But I honestly, looking back, I feel pretty used. I feel like he kind of came in, he got his screen time, and then he dipped when he felt like he got enough.
Do
And
you
he kinda
feel
got
like
his
he
name out
kind
there.
of tried to make you feel like safe and comfortable by being like, I don't like this show, I don't like, but then
Yeah.
would be on it and obviously like
Yeah.
have
No.
set conversations on it and
Exactly.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it was kind of maybe a way to make him not look like he used me and be like, oh, well, I don't like the show. Like, I don't know if I want this a part of my life for the rest of my life, even though multiple times I've told him, like, I don't know how long I want this in my life. Like, I would voice that to him all the time. Like, you know, like we're on season 3 right now, but like, who knows? Like maybe like at season 5, like I feel like I've reached my limit and I'm going to walk away from the show. Like, I just don't know what the future holds for me. So I feel like him holding that kind of above me and being like, I don't know if like I want this part of my life. I'm like, okay, that's like interesting. Cause again, it wasn't a red flag when you showed up to filming all the time. And
But also, she was way out of his league. Like, I was confused.
Yeah, I honestly
Yeah.
thought he
I'm
was
like, excuse
way
me?
too ugly for you.
Oh, you guys, I'm
Sorry.
like, let me
Can I
be the
say that?
matchmaker. Can
Yeah,
I
you can say
find
it.
their like
I mean-
spouses? Because I'm like, what's going on?
I'm not opposed at this
I was
point.
like, this
Well,
motherfucker about to be really funny.
I know.
No, like
Literally.
Actually, it wasn't
actually,
even
right?
funny, yeah.
Like,
I know.
Who else do you feel that way about in the group?
I'm like, who's single? Well, I mean, if no one has like is dating anyone, obviously,
Yeah.
like I have choice feelings about Dakota, so I'm like, you could get better, obviously, but like you're the only other one because like Miranda's not dating anyone,
Yeah.
right?
No.
And
What about Jen and Zach?
Jen and Zach? I mean, it's hard
Cracks
to
those
say.
knuckles.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
know.
anyways.
What about
No.
Jesse and Jordan?
Jesse and Jordan?
Do you think she's like way out of his league?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, just a broader question for both of you,
Yeah.
and I think you kind of spoken out with Dakota and your ex as well, but there seems to be some kind of theme. I think this is a theme with society in general.
Yeah.
It seems even more pronounced when it comes to more conservative communities like the Mormon
Mhm.
community.
Yeah.
I was raised very Catholic, and
Yeah.
kind of Christian conservative, which, you know, I think there's a lot of good that comes from those communities. But
Yeah.
there's a theme, especially with the men, when it comes to successful women
Yeah.
and very
Mhm.
confident women, that there seems to be this theme of men trying to put their partners down.
Yeah.
Do you
Because they're
notice that?
insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
exactly.
for
And I
sure.
think to me, when I look at it, I think it's all the way you're raised.
Mhm.
And I mean, I always say being from California is different. And I think it's more traditional in Utah where it's like very traditional values. Granted, like my mom didn't work, my dad did, but they were always like equals. And I think in certain relationships you see with like Jen and Zach, not to like talk about theirs, but like I think that was an issue for him. Like, and it's intimidating. I think it's intimidating for Jordan to see how successful Jesse is. And sometimes these men, when they're intimidated, they try to bring their partner down so that they feel more of an equal, so that their partner wants them still. Cause like, well, if they get too successful, they might leave. Like, I think it's an insecurity thing. Whereas like, I'm just so against that. And I think my husband knows that. Like, he is so supportive in my situation. It's like, if anything, he's like, how can I help make you more successful? And I'm like, I'm not saying that's how it should be, but I'm like, your partner should be supporting you. And if my husband wanted to have his own career too and do his own thing, I am fully supportive of that. But I do think it's interesting seeing these men try. I have a weird thing with toxic men, as you can see. I'm like, these men. But I
It's not a
get
weird
it. Like,
thing.
it
I mean, I
irks
think
me
it's an
though. Like,
appropriate thing,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
because you've been affected by them.
it pisses me off. Like, I'm like, these men are just like not supportive, and it's just not okay. I think it's just disgusting, to be honest. And I think if you're going to be in a relationship, you should hopefully have a spouse that supports you, your career, and your dreams. And if you don't have that, then leave.
Layla, two-part question.
Mhm.
You came on season 1 a little bit more of the quiet one,
Yeah.
a little more demure.
Yeah.
Season
Mindful.
2, you really seem to find your voice.
Yeah.
You know, being willing to do everything from exploring orgasms to smoking a vagina blunt.
Yes, that's in
No, it's
there.
shown.
Yes. Oh my god.
so
So
happy
good for you. Honestly, I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, it just,
I can't.
I listen, we're all human. Like,
Yeah,
you had a
we
moment
have
of just
fun.
like
I had a
saying
fun
fuck it.
night.
Like, you're
I had a fun
allowed,
night.
you are,
Yeah.
getting to know your story more and more, you are more than allowed to shake it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I want to know, obviously season 2 ended with an absolute bomb drop. of
Yes.
you getting Marciano to spill some tea. I'm
Mhm.
not sure what's true, what's not. But first part question is, do you feel like this show has made you feel more empowered, more confident in yourself, despite it being a show that's includes a lot of drama
Yeah.
and toxicity and things like that? But do you feel like it's made you a stronger woman? And two, what do you make of how season 2 ended? And again, I know we have season 3, and I'm going to respect that. We are going to preserve
Yeah.
that as well. But what can you share about that moment that season 2 ended on? And like, I guess, how shocked or not shocked were you?
Yeah. For the first question, I think for me personally, just this show has given me a lot of opportunities in my life that's kind of like changed my life. Like being able to be a single mom and provide my children a really good life is something that a lot of women stay in relationships for because they can't do
Yeah.
that. So it's something that I'm very grateful for. And I think that's why I've become more confident because I'm like, I'm doing the damn thing and I'm doing it on my own too, which I'm just really proud of myself because truthfully, that's something that for a long time is why I stayed in my marriage so long is because I didn't know if I could do it. And then the show came into the picture and I was like, wait, like there's a chance that I could do this on my own. And that's what kind of like gave me the confidence to leave. And season 1, that's when I was in the process of my divorce and like still like kind of in the depths of that. And that wasn't shown obviously in season 1, but I was struggling a lot mentally, season 1 for sure. And I just wasn't able to show up for myself mentally. So I wasn't really able to show up when we were doing this experience. But season 2, I'm finally like in a good place. And I feel like I've just become just a happier person. I'm kind of getting back to like who Layla is. And then your second question, I was shocked, very, very shocked. I think it was a really hard thing to hear because I just, in that moment, I didn't know what to believe. Like I'm hearing this man that I don't even know say something about one of my best friends. That was hard to hear. And yeah, I just think shocked is the right word to use. It was definitely a hard day for me to hear that.
What do you think of Marciano?
I think he's a scummy person. Personally, I think he's trying to do the right thing now, which is good, but I think his intentions of what he was doing behind the scenes is very icky and just messing with married women too in general.
Yeah,
It's
going
just
for married
weird.
women in
If
general.
a
it's
woman
weird.
is married, leave her the hell alone. I just think it's so gross to even kind of like venture into that, but yeah.
I think it comes from a place of insecurity.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, not sure what you can share. Obviously, season 2 ended with an accusation about Jesse's behavior.
Mhm.
We've spoken with Jessie. She promises we're going to get to the bottom of it season 3, so we'll hold her to it. But you went there to get answers about him and Demi. Is there more to that story of him and Demi? Or is it just about him and Jessie at this point?
At that point, when I did meet with him that day, he swept everything under the rug with me. So I didn't find anything out at that day meeting him. He was just kind of like, nothing happened. And then kind of reverted the whole entire conversation to Jessie. So yeah, I did go there that day with intentions to kind of figure out what actually happened in Italy. And he didn't give me that.
What do you think there is more?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Is there any ounce of you that has sympathy for Demi?
I think that this is a very hard situation for sure. This world's just really hard to navigate. And I think we're all human. And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we fuck up and we make mistakes. But I think right now what's hard for me is that she's seeing how it's affecting people and affecting people that she loved. It doesn't matter how she feels about Jessie now. At one point in your life, you really loved Jessie and she was one of your really good friends. And I think for me, it's hard to like kind of feel sympathy when like she's seeing how badly it's hurting Jessie and like there hasn't been like an attempt to like reach out or like try to like just see if she's doing okay. But I do feel bad. I just feel like this is hard for sure to have this all broadcasted to the world too. Because like normally when people make mistakes in life, it's not being shown to millions of people all
Yeah.
over the world. And it's definitely an isolating experience that like when you fuck up, it's public.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If she were to reach out to you while the show is airing, while she's getting opinions, would
Yeah.
you be there for her, or do you need that space?
I think I'm willing to hear her out for sure. I'm never going to just be like, F you, don't talk to me. But I definitely would see how she handles that conversation and kind of takes accountability and doesn't deflect. I feel like that's something that this group kind of does a lot is when we're in the hot seat, we kind of start like pointing fingers towards everyone else. And they're like, well, you
Yeah.
did this and you did this. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like stop, take accountability
Yeah.
for what I'm coming to you for right now. Don't come at me and like try to say things about me right now. This isn't about me. So I
Yeah.
think if she's able to like take accountability and kind of like be like, yeah, I fucked up, then like I'd be willing to hear her out.
I'd love to have you both answer. Do each of you think that Demi and Bret's relationship will last?
It's hard to see or say because I feel like I don't know how deep their relationship lies. On social media, you would think it's perfect, but as we know from many other couples that social media is not a reflection of how your relationship really is. I don't want to say yes or no. I would give
What
it
if
a
I make you?
maybe.
Give me. Just you got it.
I would say
It's an
yes.
opinion.
I'll say yes for now.
Layla,
Yeah, what do you think, Layla?
what do you think?
Hot take, no.
Okay.
Okay.
I think this world, unfortunately, the way that she's operating with the things, I think this world might break them.
Okay. We played
Damn.
a fun game with Jesse and Michaela last episode, and we're going to play the same with you. It's Mormon Wives Superlatives.
Oh.
And so just tell us what you think. You're welcome to nominate yourselves or anyone else
Okay.
in the group.
All right.
Who do y'all think is the most delusional?
Whitney.
Okay.
Who is most likely to win an Oscar?
Ooh.
Well, I think Whitney's the only one who wants to be an actress, right?
She's damn good at acting, so Whitney.
So I guess Whitney.
Who is most likely to use a beauty filter on their photos?
to
To me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys seem to be pretty in sync. Most likely to sneak in a fart and blame someone else.
Sneak it.
Macy.
No, I wouldn't sneak it though. You know me.
Oh,
I
she'd rip
announce it.
I think more the emphasis is
No,
blaming
that's
someone
it.
else.
Blaming
Oh.
someone else. Oh, it's not me or Michaela because I feel like we announce it if that
No.
ever happens.
Okay.
So Who is-
Jesse, maybe?
like maybe you actually.
Me?
She's like quiet over there. I feel like it would actually be you.
Oh, no, I own that shit.
I feel like if you see
No,
like all
not
sneaky.
me.
I know.
No.
Sneaky about
Who
it.
is most likely to steal a baby's name?
I'm trying to think of who we have on our cast. I'm like, who is there?
Not Miranda. I feel like she's like
Maybe Jessie.
Jesse.
I could see it
Hmm.
being Jessie.
Worst dressed.
Whitney.
Best dressed.
Miranda.
Me.
Yeah, you're Miranda. Yeah.
What
Most
about
likely.
worst dressed?
Oh,
Yeah, she just tried to hide, not do
it's
that.
two.
One. She's like you. I'm like,
it's two.
Taylor
What,
or Whitney.
okay.
Who's most likely to have lied this season?
Probably Demi.
To me. Yeah.
Oh, back to worst dressed. Do you think Taylor puts as much effort into her wardrobe as Whitney?
No, Taylor's just comfy. She's a comfy girl. But I
Okay.
think sometimes we'll like show up to things and like she comes in sweats and like everyone else is in jeans. So
Am
I think
I-
that's what I mean.
Am
is
I
that-
accurate to assume that Whitney puts a ton of effort into her wardrobe?
Yeah, and in the wrong places.
I could say that. I think she tries to do funky things to be different,
Yeah,
if I'm being
okay.
honest.
I mean, if her goal is different, she's crushing it.
No, I know,
Yeah.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
guess it's
Most
perspective.
likely to get canceled.
Ah.
I mean, I'm just going to say Jessie because she's
Jesse.
going through things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love her. Love you.
Love
We love you, Jessie. Sorry.
More than to me, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I would probably say to me, honestly, but like I just think of the situation right now, I would say
Okay.
It's kind of
Jessie.
hard. yeah.
Maybe next season, season
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
it would be
maybe
different.
to me. Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
unreliable.
Taylor.
Or Jen.
Yeah, it's either the two.
I just forget
Maybe-
about her. She's just
I-
never
I-
there.
Yeah, same. Okay.
Most
I forgot.
reliable.
Macy or
Yeah, I'd
Jesse.
probably say me.
Okay.
Yeah, me or Jessie. Those answers surprise you? Are they similar to Jessie?
Honestly,
A
there were
lot of
majority of
similar-
them. Majority
lot-
of them were similar. Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
likely to pick their nose in public.
Whitney.
Yeah, Whitney.
That girl rips ass in public all the time too.
She did. When
She's
I
a
shared a bed
farter.
with her. She is a farter.
She's
Okay.
farty.
She is a
Well,
little
ladies,
farty.
it's always great to catch up
Jessie.
with you. Thank you for
you.
such an amazing season 2. I hope to
Yes.
see more of you in the future. Good luck the rest of the way. And
Thank
just
you.
again, just thank you for being who you guys are, as vulnerable as you are, especially, I mean, both of you. You guys really opened up this season. It was really great to see and get to see more of you, especially you, Layla, and wishing you all nothing but the best.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you
you
so
guys.
much.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to our guests, Layla and Mayci, for joining us. We will be back next week for another jam-packed, explosive week. We have an incredible Going Deeper with, I'll say, 2 members of the cast of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, a couple, and a lot to unpack there. Excited for you guys to listen to that one. It's going to be a crazy week. We're excited to bring it to you. We'll see you then. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.